Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface, and I am here in another brand new dungeon that's been added to the beta servers for the Mr. Pandaria. And this one is called Siege of Niuzao Temple. And that's the best pronunciation you're going to get off me. So if anyone can correct it, this is the internet, please do, that's your job. Now secondly, I'm not just taking the world's biggest amount of damage from trash here, I'm being a numpty. Because yes, I am taking various bits of damage from the trash, but I didn't realise that I'd got Burning Rush constantly clicked on me until I started running and realised I was going really quick. So that I was taking, 3% health damage every second and thinking, wow, this trash is really tough. And then it was like, yeah, this trash is not as tough as I thought it was. Now, this dungeon, I got to say, it's going to be good news, guys, is the most diverse of the lot so far. And again, if they just tweak the difficulty a wee bit, this could be, I think, the toughest dungeon to date. And we're just coming up to the first boss. Now, this first boss has a really cracking weird name. This is Vizier Jinbak. Honest to God, why can't they just give them nice little simple names for me, yeah? I could be... I could do a commentary, just go, right, we come up to the first boss, guys. This is Derek. This is Derek, the first boss. And then Derek's just spawned a couple of ads. There's Bob, there's Sue. Take care of them. Okay, the mechanics for this fight, quite interesting. A little bit like Patchwork, if you're a melee, we dip ourselves in that amber. And although it puts a debuff on us that deals damage, as you can see, it's ticking away quite, mediocre. But it boosts our damage by 50%. So we get a nice little buff there. And then when the users come in, just take care of the users. It's not a difficult fight in its current format. But again, if they tweak the difficulty of that and make sure that we absolutely have to kill the users before they get to the middle, that could be a toughie. That could be a right toughie of a fight. Because it would force the DPS to stop on the boss and focus, and if the DPS get a woody for just hitting the boss, then it will cause problems. And I am a great believer in things like that, mechanic-wise, being in the game. This is a game that you have to have at least a modicum of skill and intelligence to play, not just stand there DPSing stuff and thinking, we'll get away with it. I'll just stay on the boss. He can do that, she can do that. No. So, if everyone has to focus on the ads, and if you don't, then it gives the boss a heck of a buff, and then it causes problems for the tank and healer, that's what it should happen. So, positive stuff. Although it was easy, positive stuff. This is the boss fight, second boss fight already. It's an event. And I like that. I think more boss fights should be events. And now, you've got these really slow pandas, and I'm talking cripplingly slow. But what they do is they drop those little amber balls, and those little amber balls you can throw, and they leave a debuff on the ground. And if the ads walk into this debuff, and they're coming up the stairs in waves and waves and waves, then it does almighty damage to them. So what we have to really do is drop them down at the bottom, as spread out as we can, so it makes a nice little river for them to walk through. So by the time they get to the top, they're pretty much dead. And then the very final ad to come up is the boss. Now, unfortunately, the boss is bugged and can't get past the final flight of stairs. Now, I say bugged, maybe it's just tired. Maybe it's just tired, Maybe he thought, oh, God, I've been walking up all these steps. And I dropped my mobile phone on the way as well, so I couldn't tell my friends that it's going to be late. Oh, mine handy. And he just gets stuck here, poor thing. So all we do is we just lob bombs and everything at him. So we couldn't see what mechanics of the fight would be if he got to the top and, how difficult it would have been. But on the boss side, he dropped every single bit of loot on his loot table. Every last drop. God bless him. The problem was I couldn't even roll on a single damn thing. Which is ridiculous. The only thing I could need on was a bit of healer gear. And I'm not going to take a bit of healer gear away from a healer. And while I'm quickly on the subject of healers, can I just give a big thank you to Leafa who was our healer. Now, I came across Leafa a few days ago when I was in the Dread Waste leveling up, and there was a bug on a couple of quest mobs where they were flying in the air, and you just couldn't reach them because you were level 89, and you can't fly until you're level 90 in Pandaria. And so hardly anyone could get these quests unless you were a monk, because you could just use the glyph of Zen Flight and then get on your cloud and talk to them. Or you were level 90 and you could fly up to them. And then Leafa, who has the Vial of Sands, was very kind indeed to just stand there and give people a lift up on the mount so they could go up, fly up, talk to the quest givers, get the quests and continue their progress. So a big thank you, Leafa, for that. I said I'd give him a thank you. There you go. Now the trash is pretty much been taken care of. And we're just about to come to the third boss now. And something rather inexplicably happens after we kill the last bit of trash. And that's one of the DPS, I think it's the Hunter, wants to go AFK for 2 minutes for a toilet break. You can't begrudge somebody a toilet break, yeah? And the tank, inexplicably, has a mass emo fit and Alt F4's out the game. Because somebody needs to go AFK for 2 minutes. And it made no sense because we're in this dungeon for 40 minutes. If the footage was to run and you saw the wipes and you saw everything together, it was 40 minutes. And this is the only boss we actually wiped on because we're now doing it with 4 people. And the tank's left, so we've got a standing tank, the DPS, the Death Knight, sorry, standing in as the tank. And we weren't too sure on the mechanics of the fight. And this is a cracking, great, fun fight. Brilliant fight. You get the boss down to 65% and it puts a protective shield around it. You can't do damage to it when it's in its protective shield. And it summons a massive group of ads, waves of ads to come at you. Come at me, brah, come at me. And also drops bombs all over the floor. So first time we're doing it, it was like, panic, panic, what do we do? And then we discovered you can actually pick up the bombs and throw them at the boss and at the ads, and they do huge damage, which was great. And then when you get it to 35%, rinse and repeat, it does the same. It also does an attack where it throws a spear at you. You'll notice a few times I had a circle around me, step out the circle, it throws a spear at you. But every time I stood out, it still did me damage, about 25k, so it was, you know, nothing damage-wise. But so if this fight, again, okay, we're doing it with 4 people, you shouldn't probably really be able to do this with entry-level gear with 4 people on a heroic, but if they tweak the difficulty of this, because with 5 it will be a lot easier, this could be a toughie. I mean, a proper toughie and a goodie. Damn trinket. Good trinket. Damn trinket. And now we're getting to the final boss. And the final boss, again, is an interesting fight. But even better is the trash leading up to it is very interesting indeed. As you can see, we're just taking constant damage and relatively high damage considering the amount of time that it's coming over. And that's because all the ads, when you start this event leading up to the next and final boss, start lobbing bricks at you. Literally, every single one of them. To random players. So you can get hit or somebody else can get hit. And the only way that you can stop it is by killing the ad. So you have to push forward at all times. Line of sight doesn't work. No, you can't hide from them. They'll hit you. So you've got to push forward at all times. Get rid of the ads. It's decent. And the healer dies because they just take too much damage. And I have to res him with a soul stone. Look at that. Hero. Yeah, hero, guys. What can I say? And then we've got the final 2 bits, and it's on to the very final boss. And again, quite an interesting little fight. Difficulty level needs to be tweaked. But this is Wing Leader Neuronok, who I'm going to call Dave. So Dave, because it's just well easier for me. I am Wing Leader Neuronok. No, you're not. You're Dave. Get over it. Yeah, by the way, the reason why I've got the Dungeon Journal on for so long is because I got a call on my phone. And I totally forgot that I was recording. So I was just there texting away, like, oh, God. So anyway, the final boss is a little bit fun. First of all, you'll notice there's that amber bar at the bottom filling up. That fills up if you stand stationary, and the only way to diminish it is by jumping up and down like fun. And then every so often, the boss will fly from one end of the bridge to the other end of the bridge, and then cause this, as you can see, massive sort of tsunami wave of energy, which pushes you back. It physically pushes you back. So you have to try and negotiate to the areas that are blocked off, so your back hits them. So even now, it's still doing it at me. But it doesn't interrupt spell casting, so even if you were moving back while casting, you can still do it. It doesn't affect it. So it seemed to go down pretty easy, but it was a decent mechanic. Tweak the difficulty, will be fun. So I hope you enjoyed that. Very interesting dungeon indeed. Please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.